Good evening, everyone. It's Tuesday, May 18th, 2021 at 6 p.m. We have our public hearing for FY22 general budget, fund budget. This is when we open up for questioning from those from the public who wish to make comments or who have questions and etc. At this time, we will call this meeting to order without objection. And by doing so, I'd like to announce that we have no one who has signed up to speak tonight. Yes.
What was that you just said?
I said we have no visitors who have signed up to speak in reference to the general budget, fund budget for FY22.
Make sure, is that right?
Okay. So,
Chairman, can I make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
yes, sir. We have a motion on the floor by Mr. Sailors to adjourn, and we have a second by Ms. Lisa Wells. And any questions? Hearing none, all in favor, please address by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, and the motion carries. I'd like to remind everyone, it's May 18, 2021, second reading of the FY22 general fund balance budget. Fund budget at 6:30. And at this time, I will ask Dr. Royster if he would like to speak on 1.02 recommended FY22 general fund budget.
Well, thank you, Ms. Lennis Wells. Good evening. Pleased to be with you tonight to present the general fund budget for FY22. Now, we have very similar information for this reading as we had at the work session and that we had at first reading. And we want that certainly to be in the record, but we're not going to belabor that with you tonight because you've already heard this twice. So it's here. It's in your materials. It will be in the record for the board. A couple of things we do want to emphasize. I'll get to those in just a minute. As we flip through this, it talks about a number of the accomplishments in the last year. It talks about where we spend our money. And as you all know, where we spend it on people. We're a people-intensive business. That's where we spend our money. And we spend it most in the greatest depth and the greatest amount directly in the classroom. You have, again, all this information in front of you. You know that the state is nowhere near funding the base student costs that's called for in their statutory formula. And you see what the changes where we have spent money in the last several years. And by far and away, the largest category is unfunded or underfunded mandates. Now, it will continue to be the case. The initiatives we've had in place over 10 years, you see those, and you see where you all, through your budget process, what you've focused on. And that's recognizing the importance of quality personnel throughout our system, especially in our classrooms, and how that affects positive student achievement. Again, we went through each of those in detail at the work session and at the first reading. They are included in here as part of the record. Now, we do want to quickly summarize the general fund FY22 changes in expenditure and the results of that. No teacher in Greenville County will be paid less than $41,500 a year. That's the new entry-based salary this budget's approved. No teacher in Greenville County will receive less than a 2% raise. Additional step at 2% for teachers at the end of the schedule. If you already have a year's experience, you will get a step equal to 2% or the actual value of the step, whichever is greater. Again, recognizing the value of all employees and their contribution to the system and to students, a 2% salary increase for all employees not paid on the teacher scale. A reduction of the student-teacher ratio from 100 to 1 to 80 to 1 for multilingual learners. That is a new term or acronym, MLL, for what's been previously referred to as ESOL and ELL, but English language learners. Two additional psychologist, 1 floating nurse, 1 paraprofessional, staffing the opening of the new Fountain Inn High School, state mandated employer retirement and health increases, funding for teacher certificate upgrades, teachers that got a master's degree or a plus 30, modification of the bus driver, bus aide, hourly and non-exempt salary schedules to bring minimum entry-level pay to $12.93 per hour, increase to the bus driver safety incentive, reclassifying the nurses' positions and adding extra days, a weekly payroll cycle for hourly employees. As I mentioned, 2 psychologists, a floating nurse, paraprofessional, staffing the opening of the new Fountain Inns High School, expanding the Greenville Alternative Teacher Education Program. And as you are sitting here tonight, that group is celebrating the end of their year. The 15 GATE teachers who successfully completed their first year and are being accorded their teaching certificate, they're being recognized tonight as we're having this budget hearing. Funding for Career Center certifications, funding to address additional costs in athletic fields, grounds, building services, and maintenance supplies and materials. Those are the significant expenditure adds to your budget. We've been over all of those in the first reading. 2 reductions included in your budget. The removal of $1.5 million in COVID-19 additional cleaning and disinfecting, and a budgeted health employer contribution increase from the previous year. Now, we've had to adjust that amount, and we'll speak to that exact amount in just a minute. Revenue changes from first reading. We have additional revenue with increased value of a mill for operating purposes, the ability to add additional indirect cost transfer with ESSER funding, that is those indirect costs that are allowed to a funding body to cover the expenses related to managing, carrying out the management and the expenditure of those funds. And you will see a positive decreased reliance on fund balance. All of those are positive revenue changes. One expenditure change from the first reading is the health employer contribution. We put an amount in last year. The House version of the budget originally reduced that amount significantly. The Senate version now takes that amount up, but not equal to what it was for this year. So we still have a reduction there. It is a lesser reduction. So if you look in your budget materials, as we have done consistently throughout the process, you will see in blue the changes. So if you look at the revenue budget, I don't think it's on this slide, but it's in your packet. It's on board docs. In blue, you will see local revenue, a newly revised figure of $244,690,000. That reflects the increased value of the mill. Transfer in, that reflects the increased ability to utilize ESSER funding for indirect cost for a total projected revenue of $700,019,000. Which to offset our budget of $714,772,000 requires a designation from fund balance of $14,753,000, a significant reduction in reliance on fund balance from previous reading. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you all have related to those changes or any other item in the budget. Ms. Levinas Wells?
Any questions? Ms. Goodwin-Caldwell?
Dr. Ross, what was the amount of fund balance that we were going to use?
It was over $20 million. What was the exact amount, Robin?
$22,960,000.
Okay. That's all.
Anyone else?
Thank you.
Now, as a reminder, before we leave that topic, as you all know, because we sent you the information on where the budget process stands in the House and the Senate, and there's a possibility this may go on till the end of June. We expect revenue will change slightly based on their final version, and expense could change, and we would bring any significant change back to you to amend if you pass the budget tonight. So those numbers could change between now and then. But we're comfortable with where the budget is because we felt there was no fiscal threat to go to 22 million or slightly above it. So it would, nothing that we would see on the horizon out of Columbia would cause us to say, you need to be cautious here. Anything that we believe they could possibly do would still be well inside the $22 million. If it ever even reached that amount.
At this time, we're not asking for any tax increase or millage, nothing.
That is correct. There is no recommended increase to taxes for operating purposes.
Ms. Wells,
Madam Chairman, I move to approve the fiscal year 22 general fund budget as presented.
Second the motion.
so there's a motion on the floor by Ms. Lisa Wells and it's second by Mr. Chuck Sailors. Any questions? Hearing none. All in favor, please address by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? And the motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Madam Chairman, I move we adjourn.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Sailors that we adjourn, second by Mr. Meek, Roger Meek. Any questions? Any questions?
If anybody wants to help move furniture, you can come with me tonight.
Hearing none, all in favor, address by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, the motion carries. And thank you for being here tonight.